Did you hear O.J. Simpson died?
Yeah, got a kind of mixed feelings on that because it's one point I'm like good. At the same time, it's kind of like I shouldn't feel. I don't want to have animosity towards people.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we don't know for sure if he did or not. Obviously, he was.
Oh, he did it.
Yeah,
I went. I dove deep on that one. I went real deep on that one, and I could talk in length about why he did it, how he did it, and yeah, he definitely did it.
yeah,
And it was basically a control thing because she was going to move from like 3 miles away from him to Malibu, and he found out about it that day. He left his daughter's recital and went.
right.
What I believe, he left the recital and he said he went to get flowers, and he was gone a really long time. When he came back, I think he had gone to her house because she had lost her keys, and more than likely he stole them because he had been stalking her, and
Yeah,
she knew that, and so then he found the paperwork. She was buying a house in Malibu, and he wasn't going to have that access to her and that control over her anymore. And so I think it was a emotional
oh
decision he
yeah,
made. That I don't think he had planned to do it, but that day it was do it or don't kind of thing,
yeah.
or she's gone.
Yeah, I think the fact that he was stalking her, and then has that nasty cut on his finger. Yeah, I think those two are big, big clues. I mean, you know what I mean? That it's more than likely that he did it.
I mean, there's a lot more evidence that you could point to, like that Kate, what was his name, Cato,
Kato
that
Kaelin.
lived with him.
Yeah,
Yeah, so he's in his guest house.
yeah.
And so there's a little walkway behind the house and his house, the whole thing. And he was in there and he heard a big bump against his wall.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the middle of the night, and OJ's running back there to ditch the knife. And there's an air conditioner thing there, and he didn't see it because it was dark, and he tripped and hit it. And Kato was like, I don't know what that was. So I went outside looking, but I didn't find anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then OJ had snuck back in the house, and the limo driver outside saw a man come from behind the house and go into the house, a black man.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't identify OJ, but he was waiting for OJ because OJ, I think, was going to Chicago that night.
Oh crap! Hold on. Oh, sorry about that. That was a
That's
little
all right.
intro. I was
That
gonna
was
surprise
kind
you
of
with that little intro.
that was like some fortuitous
You know
music.
what
Like,
I've always wondered? What if Kato Kaelin did it? That'd be like
yeah,
a perfect
he,
perfect setup. Like just set up
I
OJ.
mean, I mean, yeah, that's really going down the rabbit hole. I don't think there's any evidence for that. But
Yeah.
Cato, the weird thing is like when they got back from the recital, OJ was like wanted to go to, I believe it was McDonald's or Burger King. I think it was McDonald's, one of the fast food restaurants. But there's one closer to his house, but he went past that one to the one that's further away, and it
Mm.
went right by Nicole's house.
Oh,
And
okay.
he just out of the blue, he's like, "I'm gonna go get some burgers." And Cato's like, "Well, can I go with you?" He's like, "Well, okay," you know. And but he had gone past the one that was close and went to the one that was further, but that one went by her house, so it was kind of a little scouting thing. So there's a lot of evidence. I mean, to
Yeah.
prove that it was him.
Yeah. And then he wrote a book about it.
He
If
wrote
I'm,
a book on if I did it,
yeah,
this is how I would have did it, and he told you exactly what he did.
yeah, no,
He even talked about when Ron Goldman showed up. I think he was already in an altercation with Nicole, and so Ron Goldman's going to defend her, and he gets into a karate stance because the guy knew some martial arts, and he goes, "You got that karate stance." I was like, "What the?" Like what a joke, right?
oh no, really, I didn't even know he gave details like that.
Yeah, if
So
you read that
he
book.
says that he saw her by herself and they got in an altercation and Ron Goldman showed up. Like he
Well, he
just
didn't say they were in an altercation. He said that
like an
Ron
argument.
Goldman showed up, and then somehow I don't remember exactly why, what happened for that, but I think it was because of an altercation or argument, basically with Nicole, or maybe he had hit her or something like that.
Yeah.
Something caused Ron Goldman to say, "Hey, this is serious," and he gets into a karate stance, and
Wow.
OJ Simpson's a pro athlete with a knife, and OJ Simpson recently before that had been working on a movie with Navy SEALs. Had something to do with the Navy SEALs, and they trained him in the use of a knife
Yeah.
from Special Forces. So you know what I mean. So you got a pro athlete, who's very very strong, very able to. overpower somebody, and he has a knife. I mean,
Yeah. I don't know about all that. He probably made all that stuff. I think he just caught them like making out and said, "Screw this," and just started slicing and dicing. Man,
well,
he
maybe,
probably
but you gotta understand that when it happened, Nicole Simpson and her family had gone to the restaurant Ron Goldman works at, and there may have been something in between them. I don't know, but that night Ron Goldman was going out with his buddy to a bar. He wasn't even going over there, but her mother forgot her sunglasses at the restaurant, and Nicole Simpson knew Ron Goldman, so she called the restaurant and asked Ron, "Hey, can you bring her sunglasses over?" So on his way out, he made a side trip just to go to her house and drop off the sunglasses. He wasn't even going to be there. And I think he happened to walk up on them arguing, and it probably had to do with her moving to Malibu.
yeah.
And so he was getting irate with her, probably getting physical, or at least suggesting physical. And then Ron Goldman, saw, hey, man, this is serious. So, you know,
Well, damn. Yeah, I don't know all the details in the book, but yeah, I can't believe that fool wrote a book about that.
yeah, he couldn't, a lot of times people who do these things can't help but tell you what they did.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when everything points at you being guilty, you would think he'd stay away from something that's like unprecedented. Who's ever done something like that? Like wrote a book
Well,
about the thing they're being accused of, like
he's already been tried and acquitted.
a
And
double murder.
yeah, but with double jeopardy, he can't be tried again. So at that point, he can even admit it, and you can't try him again because he's already been tried for it.
Maybe before he died, hopefully he confess something to one of his family members. They're like all around him, I guess. I didn't even know he had cancer.
I didn't either. I just came out of the blue. But he was 76, so he's not like he's that young.
Yeah, that's
So
crazy,
it's
man.
not like a surprise. But
Yeah,
and then the dummy, and this just indicates how ridiculously his emotions control him, because after he gets acquitted for double murder, which he committed, right? He goes and commits armed robbery.
yeah,
What
no,
are you doing, right? So
like,
he's a very emotional and controlling person.
yeah,
He let that rule his life, and that's really what got him into all the trouble.
yeah, that's really dumb. How the hell you gonna think
Yeah,
you can do stuff like that and they're not watching you and are ready to throw the book at you? Didn't he get like the maximum sentence for something that's kind of minimal? You know what I mean?
yeah. Once he went down that road again and committed another felony, they're like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah,
he got away with murder, literally." So we're gonna get him as hard as we can. But he
yeah,
did get let out early.
yeah. What a dummy.
Yeah,
Well, he's gone now. So
that just goes to anybody who it's a good learning lesson for anybody who lets their emotions control them. We all have emotions, but when you let them get the best of you, you end up in situations like that where you do crazy things. They don't have to be that crazy, but you'll make a lot of mistakes
yeah,
like that, and that's basically what I think happened with him. It was like, she's mine, I own her, and he wasn't going to let go of that. He was very obsessed, and those emotions took over.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Well, I
That's
mean,
what I
man, to be that violent, yeah. I mean, you're out of your mind. You're out of your mind, man.
right.
Almost cutting her head off, and
Yeah, you're not thinking with your brain a whole lot there.
yeah. So yeah, for sure, the devil's got the best of him that day, man.
Yeah, it's really what it comes down to.
Yeah. All right, my brother. So like I told you, so as far as like a format, I mean, yeah, like we're gonna wing it. So I wanted to kind of start off this whole concept. Obviously, from what I told you, what the whole idea was that I listened to all these podcasts. I listened to Charlie Kirk, Tim Cast. I was listening to do you know those guys? Tim Cast. You know Tim Cast?
About Tim Pool,
Uh, but yeah, well, he has like three different shows. He has
the
Tim
guy who wears
Cast.
the
Is
guy
his
who wears
name?
the
Yeah, he wears like a beanie the whole time.
yeah. I think it's Tim Pool.
Well, he has a show called Tim Cast. So I don't know if
Yeah,
cast
probably,
just means okay. So is Tim Pool's his real name? Yeah, it was
yeah, it's
over.
probably Tim's
Yeah.
podcast.
So
Jordan, maybe.
I listened to him. I listened to a Patrick Bet David. I was listening to Joe Rogan. I was listening everybody. The new one I've been listening to is Benny Johnson. You know that guy? He has a pretty good show. I just started listening to him.
The name doesn't ring a bell, but I might have.
There's just a million podcasts, and I don't
Sure.
know. I'd never even thought about doing one, like ever. Like I just didn't want to like. No, I didn't even think about it. But it kept bugging me that they're just kind of being like mainstream media, and they would always talk about them, and they would just talk about the issues, and just they're almost just like, you know what I mean, just like the news, just reporting the news, and yeah, they give their opinion, and they're able to do long form, conversations on everything, but that's it. They will just give you the news, the problems that are going on, and just stress you the hell out. And then now you got to wait till the next day to hear what happens. And then just like the mainstream media, like nobody reports anything during the weekends, as if like all the everything, all the problems of the world go like stop like over the weekend. And
Right,
it
right.
just bugs the hell out of me that they're not even, there's no hope. Like they don't talk about solutions. Like, well, how can we fix this? Like, how do we do
Well,
this?
I think the reason that you have that, and this is what I've noticed about most of this stuff, is that what happens is they get trapped into the small picture, right? It's like if you're looking at a picture, they're looking at one little piece of it and trying to dissect why this person's doing this, why that person's doing this, why this happened over here, and they don't ever step back and see the whole picture and understand it's all connected, right? Like, if you want to say the FBI director, why is he doing this? He should be a good guy, but you got to understand he's not alone. He's being controlled, right? It's not
Yeah,
it's not him, and so they end up just getting caught up in like, why is this person doing this?
yeah.
Why is that person doing that? Why aren't they doing the right thing? Well, because they're all connected, and you're not seeing the whole picture. And I think people get, and that's a trap that they get you into.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think they can't come up with solutions because they're not seeing the whole picture. They're just seeing part of it,
Well,
and so
that
they don't understand the whole thing.
that's a good point that I thought about from listening to Charlie Kirk. He's like in the eye of the storm. Anytime there's anything going on like politically with like in Congress or the Senate, he'll have those senators or congressmen on his show like right in the middle of it going on. But and then he has a bunch of good opinions. He talks well. He goes all over the country like to colleges and talks. But what I trip out on, he never brings up the World Economic Forum. He never brings up George Klaus Schwab.
Soros.
Klaus Schwab, you know who Klaus Schwab is, right? For the
Yeah,
world
yeah,
from the WEF. Yeah, he never
yeah.
brings that up. He never ties in that what's going on in this country with immigration and just all the, all the violations they're doing. It's going on all over the world, and he doesn't tie that together. He isolates it just to the United States, and I think that's not a good like picture of like what's going on. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you put it in proper context that it's happening all over the world, you'll see that, we there's like almost bigger fish
Right.
to fry. You know what I mean?
So
Like however.
he's looking at the picture. He's seeing more of the picture when you look at the entire country, but he's still not seeing the whole picture. You're right.
Oh,
I agree.
he's not talking about it. He might know. I mean, but I listen to him pretty much every day, and he never brings up World Economic Forum. He never talks about their policies and what they're doing. Nobody ever brings up what's his face. God, this is gonna happen a lot, bro. That where I blank out on the damn name. Bill Gates. They never talk about Bill Gates and what his mission has been for like over 20 years of depopulation. He's literally done like TED talks where he's talking about depopulating the planet, like, and nobody ever brings that up. That's one of the policies of the World Economic Forum. Like they've had, what was that? You know that lady that they did a movie about, Gorillas in the Mist, of Sigourney Weaver played her.
Yeah, yeah.
Jane Seymour. What's her name? I want to say
Jane
Jane Seymour.
Goodall.
Huh?
Jane Goodall.
Jane
Jane
Goodall,
Goodall.
yeah, yeah. She's gone on these World Economic Forum, and she's literally talking about we need to bring the population back to what it was in the 1800s. Like, and these are like scientists, like well-respected scientists all over the world that people listening to, and they're like advocating for like depopulating the planet. Like, so how the hell are we not going to think that they got all these economic plans for the whole every country of the world, and they're blaming it on. Sure enough, they hijacked they're blaming it on climate change, and they're using that as a cover for deep, or at least an excuse to depopulate the planet. So to me, that ties into what happened with COVID. Like I think that was one of the main test runs, I think, for what they want to do.
I agree. I think that there is a big push for most people to depopulate. However, Elon Musk says we need more population, and they've actually run models on this of how many people the world can actually sustain before it is really overpopulated and we run into trouble. And he says depopulation, or the reducing of population, which a lot of places the population is reducing, is actually more detrimental. I don't know exactly where he comes to that conclusion, but however, they did do a model of what the Earth could sustain, and according to that model, it's about 2 billion more people can
Uh,
can be on the Earth before you run into real problems.
uh,
But the reason they want to depopulate is and is because, in my opinion, is because things are going automated, right? So if you have all these automated jobs, even in our work, in a lot of different fields, more and more of these AIs and robotics are going to be doing the work. So you don't need people to do these jobs.
yeah,
So the people with money and power are going to still get their products and their services done with a lot less labor. So you don't need the people. So they'll use climate change because people's footprint as a fear tactic to to get to where they're going. Climate change is nothing more than a fear tactic. Of course, climate changes. It changes. It changed before humans ever even were on the planet
yeah,
constantly.
yeah,
Egypt used to be lush and green,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
There was no industrial machines polluting the world back then, and the population was much lower than they want now. So how did their climate change, right?
Yeah, yeah. Oh no, it's been debunked by everybody already that there's no climate change going on. Like respected scientists that were getting banned for I mean expressing their opinion. They came out and said this is just natural. It's not true. It's just they're lying. They're using it as a cover for
I mean,
their economic policies and population control policies for sure.
I think it's naive, I guess, to a degree, to say that we don't have any effect, because we do pollute the environment a lot, but the majority of it is natural. It's going to occur anyway, but we probably do have a little effect on it. Um, but the Earth is a living organism, just like everything, and it,
Yeah,
it, it makes correction.
yeah.
So
The ironic thing about Musk, he's supposed to be like the big hero, talking about yeah we could sustain more people, but on the point you said that I mean they're gonna have robots pretty soon that could take jobs and they're gonna start making I mean the necessity for more people to sustain civilization. He's building robots, so
well,
he's
well,
actually building the thing that's gonna motivate them to get rid of people. So
here's a thought experiment. It's clear that robotics are taking over are going to be doing a lot of the work for humans, and AI also, whether it be in the white collar or blue collar, AI in the white collar, robotics in the blue collar. Okay, so when you have millions and millions of people, maybe billions of people who don't need to work, or their work would be 20 hours a week or something, right?
mhm,
What do they do with all that time, right? You have a bunch of people that have all this time on their hands. So what does that look like? What is going to happen when you don't need to go to work,
yeah,
right? How are you supposed to survive? Is the government going to say, "Oh, we're going to give you a paycheck for not going to work"? Well, then they have control over you, but
yeah,
they really need you anymore. Same thing with COVID. COVID, in my opinion, is a man-made virus engineered probably by the United States in conjunction, and it was really a worldwide effort. Because
yeah,
who really died from COVID? It was the people who were sick and
yeah,
old, and those people don't go to work. They're takers. They're not givers. They're getting money from the government. They're not paying into the government, right?
yeah,
So COVID was a way to depopulate the non-producing people. So that's where they're going to start. But I think for the government, or the world government, the World or Economic Forum, or whoever's really running this one world thing, they're trying to depopulate, definitely, because they don't need them,
yeah,
because of what the future is going to hold. They see the writing on the wall, and it's pretty sick, because they could just let these, if the machines are going to do the work anyway, the same um, progress is going to happen in the workplace. You're going to get the job done. You're going to all the things are still going to happen, but these people don't need to work. So now they're like, well, we still got to pay them. Well, why don't we just keep the money and get rid of them,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because
yeah,
when you have bad people running things in a situation we've never seen before, where technology is going to be doing a vast amount of our work, and millions and if not billions of people don't need to go to work. They're not like, hey, you know what, let's just be nice to everybody and just give people money and let them go out and paint or do whatever their hobbies are, and they can have these wonderful lives. These aren't the kind of people who are in charge right now. The kind
yeah.
of people in right now are bad people who say, no, that's more money and power for me if
Yeah,
I don't have to give it to them. And I think that's a big part of it as well.
yeah, yeah. For sure, the people that are in charge are, I think, atheists for sure. I mean, if not total total
Well,
Satanists,
you know,
just
you're
atheist
not,
people that just think nothing matters.
you're not worried about God if you're treating people that way.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
might, but they're not real worried about it. And the weird thing when you say Satanist, I've always thought it's like, well, if you believe in Satan, then you believe in God. Why would you choose the wrong side?
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. I
Right?
mean,
Choosing
so
losing side.
it's
It's
either atheism, and I mean, I guess people just think that they're God. That just because they're the rich and powerful. That
right, and that's a very powerful tonic that's going to make you, I can imagine. I'm not one of them, but I can imagine how it would probably be difficult if you're super rich and super powerful and even famous or whatever. All these different things to maintain your sober mind and not get caught up in it and suck up into your mind and think that you are it, but they're really not. You're going to live and die. You can't buy that.
yeah,
You can't buy, so, but anyway, people, the big thing to me, like for all these different discussions on issues, is identifying the problem.
yeah,
Most people they look at one part of the picture and they think, well, this person's the problem, but they don't see the real cause of it.
yeah,
Um, like violence and all the crazy stuff that happens in America. It's not because of guns; it's because of the decline of morality.
yeah,
When you don't have morals, you don't have problem doing terrible things to people, and
yeah,
that comes back to God as well. Without God, you don't have any. There is no right and wrong without God. Who would be the determiner of that?
yeah,
Everyone determines it for themselves. Therefore, if I want to murder somebody, there's that's my opinion. It's not wrong.
yeah,
Right? Without God, who's to say?
yeah.
So,
Exactly. But
so
yeah, no,
the moral
it's
the moral decline of the United States and really around the world is really the main cause of our. That's it. When you really want to break it down, that's the main cause.
yeah. Well, I mean, I try to in that list I sent you. I try to address it, so it's in there as far as basically proper parenting. But how do you get proper parenting right now when both parents have to work? You know what I mean? Like it's mandatory now that both parents have to be at work, and usually the kids are left alone. And I think that at least out here, that's how it is. And these kids are left to basically raise themselves, get influenced. Especially now with social media, it's even worse. I think morality is going straight out the door. This is little kids killing people and thinking it's cool because they could post about it on social media, and so it's getting a lot worse. But so I try to address it in that list. So hopefully we get around to it and eventually and see how we could reverse all that stuff. All right, so I'm looking at the Twitter feed right now. So I told you I wanted to start with kind of what I think the end game is for what the World Economic Forum is trying to do. Some guy Song Ping Ang. I'll transfer right now so you can look at it. Song Ping Ang on Twitter. You'll see it. But he's been I think I don't know if it's a guy or what it is, but he's been posting like videos in China, and he records basically how the social credit system works out there and how they're basically got the whole country just digitized and they're just able to watch everything. They got cameras everywhere. And I think that's what they're trying to do eventually here in the United States. I saw somebody post something that Whole Foods, I don't know what state it was in, this lady was paid for her food with just her hand. Like she just
Yeah.
she held her hand. Do you see it? She held her hand
No,
over something.
and I believe it's Sweden. They have a lot of people doing that with the chips, where they can unlock doors, they can pay for stuff just with a chip.
Oh yeah,
And, and it's nuts because this is biblical. It's in the Bible.
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
don't do that. But just by doing that, you're not taking the mark of the beast. But it's leading to that.
Well, I think a lot of people always thought it would be a chip. Everybody thought it'd be a chip in your wrist, and that's how you paid for everything. But now you don't need a
Well,
chip. You carry the damn chip in your pocket.
well,
You know what I
no.
mean?
In Sweden, they're actually putting the chip in their hands.
Oh, they are doing it. Holy
Yeah,
crap! Oh, that's
people,
blatant. That's
thousands and thousands of people have done that in there.
It might
It
as
says,
well literally be the devil putting that shit. If they don't even need
well,
that. They just carry
it
the
is.
phone.
It is because it says in Revelation, if you don't get on board with the Antichrist and you hold to God, then you will not be able to buy or sell. Well,
Yeah,
how are they going to keep you from buying or selling? Well, you don't have the chip, or they shut the chip off. They
yeah.
block it, and there's no more currency, so you can't.
Well, it's
So you basically starve to death, or if they catch you, they're going to kill you.
yeah,
And that's what it clearly says in Revelation. But that's in the tribulation, and if you're already saved Christian, you'll go up in the rapture uh, before the tribulation, so you won't be in that situation. It's a situation nobody wants to be in. Trust me, it's terrible. And at that point, you're going to have to resist all these massive forces coming at you. Like you can't buy and sell. In other words, you can't eat. You're going to really struggle to even eat. And if
yeah,
they do catch you and you hold to God, they're going to behead you. That's what it says. So the good news, though, is for the people who trust in God, they're not going to be there for that.
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
But definitely leading there. You can see, I mean, everything is leading there. You got the one world government, very, very strong push for that. In Revelation, you're going to have a one world government led by the Antichrist, and you're going to have the mark of the beast. You won't be able to buy or sell. All these things are happening right before our eyes. Now, I don't know that it's going to happen right now in our time. Maybe, maybe not. No one knows. But the signs are clearly there, and it does. Jesus did say, "Look for these signs."
yeah. No, no. Well, definitely, all of it's happening right now. There's signs
Yes.
for all kinds of stuff that are happening. I got a something we'll do maybe in another show. Some little I guess a test or some some paper that my stepdaughter had to use to for history, I guess, and she's in seventh grade, and
Hmm.
it's 10 theories on the fall of Rome,
Okay.
and she had it, she laid it out. We'll read it some other day because it's pretty long. It's like 4 pages, but yeah, the 10 theories. Oh my God, it's crazy. Basically, you probably already know. I'll
No,
read the I'll
I
read
have.
just the list, but I could break it down and how they explain it. It's what's happening right now. Barbarian invasions. So you could kind
Yes.
of put it together what that might be. Decline of morals and values, like we just talked about. Environmental and public health problems.
Yeah.
Inferior technology. Excessive military spending to defend the empire.
Yeah.
Inflation, number 6. Political corruption, number 7. Rise in Christianity. So you could probably there's probably an equivalent to that. Maybe just maybe the opposite of what's happening here. Like you know what I mean? They're diluting religion and making everybody fight each other. Who knows? Number 9, and unemployment, and number
Hmm.
10, urban decay. And when the way they break down everything, it's like, oh my God, it really is happening right now.
Well, I have a really in depth amount of information on Rome. That was my big
I
thing
remember
for
you
a long.
telling me.
So one thing about Rome is like when Rome was in its height, their coins were 100% silver. At their decline, they were 1% silver. They were
Wow.
a constitutional republic. They had consuls, so there was never one person in charge. So they had a senate, and they would have at least two consuls,
Well,
which shared
constitutional republic is what we are, right?
we're supposed to be, but we're not anymore. It's just the word.
Oh, okay.
Um, and, but then when Julius Caesar invaded Rome and took over, he
Oh, which
became
by the way, real quick, just one side note, I heard I'd always heard this term crossing the Rubicon, and I found out what
yeah,
that was. That's awesome.
yeah,
It makes
across
me
the
want
Rubicon.
to. I remember you told me about the show Rome on HBO. I'm gonna
Yeah,
try. I want to watch it after that. But all right, go ahead.
yeah,
My bad.
that's actually in there. But what I
Oh,
wanted to say about Caesar is when Caesar seized power, he said, "Well, I'm going to be a dictator for 10 years." Then it turned to life. But how he really maintained his power, the Senate shared power with the consul. So
hmm,
he's supposed to be a consul, but now he's a dictator, and he basically ruled the Senate. But what he did was he brought in a bunch of Gauls, which is French. When
hmm,
they conquered France or Gaul at the time, he
hmm,
brought in a bunch of Gauls and made them senators, right?
hmm, yeah.
He brought in all kinds of people from outside the empire and put them in high positions
This is
because
Julius Caesar.
yes.
Oh, okay. So he. Oh, I thought
So,
I thought he got killed right away. So he
no,
he
he
lived long enough to make all these changes.
yes.
Okay.
Um, so you have that, he undermined. It's very akin to what's happening now, where we're bringing in people throughout the world just to sway American elections. It's sort of the same sort of scenario where you're using foreigners to control the actual people that are Romans or the actual Americans, right? That's how you seize control. You don't use the Romans or the Americans, you use outsiders. So he brought in all these people. And then once he was assassinated, his great nephew, Octavian, became the emperor. And he's actually the first named emperor and changed his name to Augustus. And then he had the facade that he shared power with the Senate, but all the senators knew that if they got out of line, they're going to get killed. And he killed plenty of them and seized their land and took their money. And they imported so many slaves throughout the Roman Empire that that's where their work went. Romans didn't have any jobs because of people that came into the country that they forced in, and made into slaves. So slaves are doing most of the work, so people didn't have money. Just like, you have people coming into the United States illegally and taking the jobs from Americans. It's very, so you're right on the nose that the Roman Empire is a very good synonymous example for what's happening in the United States.
Well, it's been like a kind of like a meme. It was like maybe past like about 2 months ago for like a little while. Everybody was talking about it. Everybody was just comparing it. There was like something. My girl came and told me, "Oh, do you ever think about the Roman Empire?" I'm like, "What? Like, how did you know about that?" Like, because I'd seen videos of people like asking that question. Like, wives will go ask their husbands, like, "Oh, do you ever think about the Roman Empire?" And the husband will all of a sudden give like this whole explanation, like it was just a thing that everybody was comparing the Roman Empire to what's happening in the United States right now.
Well, the
So,
United States is modeled after the Roman Empire, and because the Roman Empire is a constitutional republic, we're a constitutional republic. The Roman Empire had a Senate, and it had a balance of powers, and we have that. So the Roman Empire was more strict and regulated, but than we were before. We're like that now too, but yeah, but we modeled our system after their system, and the Roman Empire wasn't conquered. It destroyed itself from within,
yeah,
like we're doing.
yeah.
Like our money is going down, or dollar's been devalued at least 3 or 4 times.
Well, did it happen
Our,
like in a day? Was there something? I don't know how it happened. Did
that
it like happen in
Roman
one day? All of
Empire,
a sudden, they all rioted and just destroyed it,
no,
or it
no,
was?
they didn't decline because of rioting or because of any of that. They declined because of all the things you said. Their economy just went to crap, and they couldn't take care of all the land that they owned, and so eventually, the Germans, uh, they call them barbarians, started invading. Lots of different places on the outskirts of Rome started invading, and it just started pushing in on them. But from Caesar to Constantine, which was the last Roman emperor, I think it's about 400 years. It's about 900-year history of Rome.
Mhm.
About about half of its constitutional republic, about half of its empire. So the empire lasted for quite a while, centuries, under this corruption. But over that time, it just eroded, everything: the economy, the society, the morals, the jobs.
Yeah.
All these things were eroded slowly over time.
Okay. So
And
it didn't happen like overnight. It wasn't like a literal like, all right,
no,
today we're taking down Rome and there's fire. I always heard the term of Nero supposedly watching Rome burn while he played the violin or some
well,
or
whether
played the
that's
flute or
true or not,
something.
we don't know. They don't know that he actually was playing the harp or whatever when
No,
Rome
so
burned.
so I've always
However,
pictured it that way. That like it just happened like one night, it all went away. But I guess
no,
it just
because
happened slowly over time.
Nero's pretty early on as far as emperors go. After Nero, you probably had at least 300 years or so of empire.
Uh,
But he did. It's pretty. It's not. The truth is, no one actually knows exactly who started the fire in Rome, but it's more than likely Nero, on his orders, because it was in downtown Rome. It burned up, I want to say, 2/3 or 3/4 of the entire downtown, which is prime real estate. This is like burning down New York, mostly New York. And then after that, he took the center of Rome for himself and built this gigantic palace, and it was insane. And then he blamed fire on the Christians, and then they started taking Christians and killing them, taking them to the Colosseum and
damn.
using them for court, and et cetera. So the
Yeah.
persecution of Christianity, happened really big because of that fire. But I believe Nero started it and blamed the Christians.
Wow. This is all in that show. They show this.
No, no, the
Oh,
show only the show only goes up to Augustus, which is Caesar's great nephew.
okay.
I believe it ends there because they ended the show, even though it was great, because Game of Thrones is both HBO and both shows cost so much that they wanted to move that money into Game of Thrones. It could have went on. I mean, Roman Empire is so vast that the history is so long that they could have went on, but it's basically the story of the Republic with Caesar and Pompey. Or Pompey is a consul; he's in charge,
Yeah.
and Caesar's a general. But Caesar and Pompey have an outing. They're outed. There's other people involved,
Yeah.
but Caesar comes in and seizes power from Pompey on us. Basically, he moves so quick that Pompey had to flee. He flees to Egypt. The Egyptians behead him, and
And
so
and they were just generals, right? They were fighting for Rome, but basically
yeah.
they both get so powerful that
Well, no, Pompey was a consul, which is like a president.
oh, okay, okay.
He was a general. He was a general before that, which is really that's how you become a consul of Rome, is because of your military. That's how they, just like the United States for a long time, like you almost didn't run for president unless you had military service because they were like, nope. But now it doesn't matter.
Is that why the Rome got so scared of Julius Caesar because he even scared Pompey? Because that's what I saw in the video when I heard about the crossing the Rubicon. How they explain it is that they gave basically Julius Caesar an ultimatum: disband your army and
They
don't cross the Rubicon. Don't go into Rome
well, no, they
with
didn't
your army.
cross the Rubicon.
Something.
Crossing the Rubicon was an unwritten rule or a written rule. I don't know,
No, it
but it
wasn't
was
a
that's
rule. It was just something that he did. They said if he went into Rome with his army, they would consider him. They call it something you probably know. They call it some sort of thing that if he crosses, he's an enemy of the state. And
right.
then he said,
It's
"Screw
like
it," and he crossed the Rubicon. And I guess the point is that crossing the Rubicon is the point of no return. Like as soon as he did that, he had to win or die, and he ends up
hang
winning.
on.
Yeah, go for it.
Hang on. Sorry, that was my mom's phone.
Yeah, yeah, no worries, no worries.
So no, this had been in place for pretty much the history of Rome. Once it became big,
Oh,
is
okay.
any military force that crosses the Rubicon armed is a declaration of war, and you're basically a traitor to Rome, an enemy of Rome, and everyone
Oh,
knew.
okay.
But Pompey didn't say, "Hey, don't cross the Rubicon." It's just if you do, you already know, right? But what happened was Caesar did it so quick that Pompey didn't have time to get his legions in place, so he had to flee Rome. And then he thought he would go to Greece, establish his legions, and he did. And they had a war, and Pompey came with superior forces, but Julius Caesar was just a great general, and his troops were very loyal. And the reason also that he was able to seize Rome is the people loved Caesar because in all his conquests, not just in Gaul but everywhere, he would send a lot of the spoils back to Rome and give it to the citizens. So the people loved him. And Mark Antony, one of his generals, was he was the I forget the title, but it's the voice of the people. Like he has veto power in the Senate, so the Senate can do this or that, and the people's person can say veto,
Mm,
right? Mark
mm-hmm.
Antony had the people's veto, so the people loved Caesar and Antony because they were on their side. That's what they believed,
Oh,
and,
okay.
and
Oh,
Pompey just they liked Pompey too, but he was more of an old stuffy guy who, you know what I mean. He wasn't really sharing the wealth as nearly like Caesar was, and so Caesar basically Caesar just outsmarted him both with the people and militarily. And but they did have a war, and Caesar crushed them, and
wow.
then he fled to Egypt, and they got murdered there. And at that point, Caesar just took over. But at that point, he shared power. He did share power for a while with or no, he didn't. He didn't. It's after he dies. Then Augustus. At the beginning, there's three consuls, but then Augustine has a war with Mark Antony, and I forget the other consul. There's three consuls, and then Augustus defeats him, and then he claims I'm the emperor. But I'm a good emperor. The Senate still has its full say, which was nonsense. It was a facade. It's kind of like in America. You think you have you know you're free, but you're really not.
Yeah. And they depict all this in that show Rome. Like all this is like,
Well,
the,
like I said, it tells the story of Pompey and Caesar
I
up
need to
to
watch that.
into Augustus, which is
Yeah,
actually Octavian who changes his name to Augustus Caesar after Caesar dies.
I started watching it, and yeah, it gave me like Game of Thrones vibes with the production and all that. It looked seemed pretty good, but damn, my attention span, I'm like, man, I gotta watch like 3 seasons of this. I just get
Well,
exhausted just thinking about it. But I
what's
wanna
really cool
I wanna watch it.
though, the two main characters are soldiers in Caesar's army, and it's Varenus and Pulo, and those are the only two soldiers that Caesar ever wrote about. Caesar wrote a lot, but he never wrote about basic soldiers.
Hmm.
But Varenus and Polo were such exceptional soldiers that he actually wrote about them because one time they were fighting. I forget who it was, but Polo just breaks formation and just runs out and just starts fighting everybody, like the whole of their army, right? And
Hmm.
he's doing all right, but he's going to get killed because he's he's out there by himself. So Varenus says, "Wow, screw this, we got to go," and he goes in there and saves him. And Caesar was so impressed by this that he wrote about it. And so the show kind of revolves around them, but it tells a really accurate story of Julius Caesar, Mark Antony, Octavian, Augustus Caesar, um, etc., and other people. But those are the main, and Pompey. Those are the main. So
Yeah,
it's very accurate historically,
yeah, yeah. I gotta watch that show.
and it brings in Cleopatra as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it goes into Egypt as well because Julius Caesar had a baby with Cleopatra, and then Mark Antony ends up with Cleopatra.
Oh,
So
really?
it's kind of
Did
crazy. Like,
real quick? Did they kill all the senators that assassinated Julius Caesar? Did his descendants? Did they kill
well,
everybody?
Brutus would be the main one because his family name was so old that he was like Rome, right?
Mm.
So what happens is Julius Caesar. Um, Gets killed by Brutus and some of the other senators. Then after that, because Julius Caesar named Octavian, his great nephew, in his will as his heir, Octavian becomes emperor. But he had to struggle with that because he had to go fight Brutus. Brutus raises an army. Mark Antony raises an army. Octavian raises an army. Octavian Augustus, and then they end up going to war, and Octavian wins.
Mm.
So that's basically how that happened. So all the senators that went against him, I don't know that they all died for sure. I know Brutus, the one that's they say is the main one because he had the biggest name. He died. He actually committed suicide in the battle because he was going to be overrun.
Oh, really?
Um, and then Cato, which is a really big senator, he committed suicide because he was going to be overrun. So yeah, I would say probably they all did, but the main ones definitely were killed.
Mm. Okay. Okay.
And
Yeah.
Cicero was killed by Mark Antony and them. So yeah, Cicero was a big one. So yeah, pretty much yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure I'll get around to watching it. This is pretty good, man. I'm
Oh
interested in all
yeah.
that stuff.
I mean, what I love about shows like that is like it's so well done and it's historically accurate.
Yeah. John Milius, he wrote it.
Oh,
John
okay.
Milius, he's the guy. You know who he is, right? The guy that did Red. He wrote Red Dawn. I think he wrote Apocalypse Now, stuff like that.
Oh,
He's pretty good.
Apocalypse Now is one of my favorite movies too. So I didn't know who wrote these, but good job
Yeah, yeah,
with
yeah,
Apocalypse Now and the original Red Dawn was pretty good.
yeah. That one. Hmm.
But Rome would be one of the best series I've ever seen.
Oh, really? Yeah, I'll watch that.
For me, because I like Roman history and it's so accurate and it's so well done.
Yeah, yeah, it looked pretty good. All right, let me get into real quick. I want to show you the intro. Just get your thoughts on it. But basically, I don't know. I just wanted something kind of dramatic. I found this.
Okay.
I heard this music, and I just wanted to kind of, I guess the word is convey the seriousness of what's going on in this country. So check this out. See what you think. Hold on, I gotta restart this. Hold on, that's not right. I want you to hear it from the
I
beginning.
like it already. I think it's
Yeah,
good.
yeah, I did
Yeah.
that right there. Hold on. It should start from here. Oh, damn it.
Have we been recording yet or no?
Yeah, it's been recording the whole time.
I was gonna say because I threw out some good stuff.
Yeah, no, we got it all, bro. We're good. We're so
Oh,
far,
oh,
so far. It's going the way I imagined, man. I knew we were gonna have a lot to talk about, and I knew you have good information. So, yeah,
yeah.
this is good so far. Damn, where the hell's the There's a setting to make this start from the beginning.
Yeah, and there's like some subjects like that, like Rome, where I'm going to probably be more the dominant voice because I have more information on that probably than most people,
Uh,
and other ones you will, but I don't want to be like
no,
I want I want to share this where so like what I'm saying is I have a tendency to overtalk people, and I
no.
don't. So if
I
I
already
let
know,
me,
Dan. You're telling me I already know that you know a lot of stuff, bro, and you're articulate, bro. So you explain everything
no,
really
but
a lot
I don't.
better than me too, man. So
What I'm saying is I don't want to dominate the conversation, and so don't let me do that.
nah, but that's not even the point. It's if you make a good point, yeah, it's no problem. It's not. I won't even consider it dominating. I want you to get the information out there, and we want to teach people some stuff, maybe that they haven't heard.
Yeah.
Basically, this is just one side of the show. We haven't even gotten to the solution side of the show. How's your time, bro? You're good, right? Because
Yeah, yeah. My day
we're
off.
46 minutes in, and solutions. We don't got to go too far in it, but you got at least another 30, 40 minutes.
Yeah, I'm good.
You're good. Okay, then I'm good then, bro. Okay, here's the intro, so you can just check it out. Hopefully that music doesn't get flagged.
Copyright.
Yeah, 'cause it's a small part of a big orchestra piece. And
Yeah,
I
I know.
looped it. That one part, how I repeated that part when I was looking up something dramatic like on YouTube, and then I found this, and I read the comments, and they're saying this is like one of the best. I forgot what instrument this guy's using. One of the best pieces ever recorded. And I was like, yeah, that sounds pretty good. That's kind of what I'm going for.
I'd love for an intro, but I'm sure we can't.
Wait, hold on,
Is helicopters are going in? They play Valkyrie, Ride of Valkyrie by Wagner.
uh-huh.
Dun, dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun,
Well,
dun,
well, from this intro, I wanted to go to something, more a little exciting. That for sure will get flagged though, right? Of the Flight of the
yeah,
Valkyrie.
yeah, yeah.
Here,
Like,
I got have this sound right here. It's more just up tempo,
right.
but these are this right here. Hold on, let me lower this music. Oh, there you go. This music right here, this software has like a bunch of stuff you could use, like a bunch of images and music. It's supposed to be not copyright.
Oh, okay.
It's free to use, but it gives you a warning that it's possible that it might get flagged. But
Okay.
I don't know. We'll see. All right, Dan. So let's get into kind of just kind of how I pictured starting this and to show you this video. So hopefully you see it good on your phone. But here we go. So I was looking up this guy's Instagram page, and this right here, it looks like it. I'm reading it. Oh, hold on. Did it move? Hopefully it didn't move. Oh, here it is right here. So I'll read it since people are going to be. Actually, I'm hoping I want the show to be like 80% podcast, just audio, but and 20% video. But I know there's a lot of stuff we want to show, so it might end up being like 50-50. But
Well, the video is good anyway because people are very visual, so having some video on there is good.
yeah, can you see it? See
Yeah.
it pretty good on your end. All right. Can you read it? How do you read it? Because I don't know. How
I can't. The writing's very small.
Yeah, that's what. Oh, on your phone. Yeah, I think on screen it might look better, but.
I had glasses on, I could, but my eyes are going bad. I'm almost a senior citizen.
Oh, really? Oh, crap.
Yeah.
Dude, my hearing's messed up, man. From I don't know, from years of loud music, and especially work. Yeah, and those trailers, man.
Loud.
At the secret place where we work at, bro, which we're not gonna bring up.
Yeah.
Okay, so here I'll read it. So this guy, like I said, he posts videos. I don't know how the hell he's not dead yet. How they haven't caught him, but he posts videos on Twitter of what's going on over there. He says China installs city brain public surveillance system, which oversees over 1 million biometric facial recognition cameras. A combination of satellites, drones, and fixed cameras grab over millions. Oh, he's kind of his broken English, kind of like my broken reading. Grab over millions of images a day. The bus, metro, and credit cards of residents are also traced in real time. So check out this video. It starts off. Can you see it?
Shen
Yeah.
Dan co-developed the system.
Can you hear it pretty good?
Yeah.
It took less than a year to get the first version up and running. Now she can monitor every resident from this office.
This is what they want in the United States.
Yeah,
And all over the world.
这个就是整个小区里面的楼房的一些信息。
We've mapped the residential buildings in the district. Which ones are occupied? Where there are vacancies? Where elderly people are living alone? Where care or help is needed? It's all stored in our system and can be called up in real time.
那么这样的一些基本信息呢，也都
Real quick, I'm pausing it. Do you know that they actually made all the residents, all the citizens of China register their knives? you ever hear that? Yeah, they had to go and they imprint like a barcode on their knife in case they kill somebody or they try to use it as a weapon towards the government. Dude, they got to. I don't know what the suicide rate. I know it's high. I've heard that it's high in China, man. But they got to be the most stressed out. Probably more, not as much as North Korea, but for sure, the fact that they're close to like a capitalist society because they let them have like movies and social media, but they're still controlled. Like they're like right there, but they still can't step out of line. Like they got to be a stressed out people, man. Like
都在这个微平台上就可以实时的调取出来。
Even those who do not dispose of their trash properly are recorded. Residents who
and the
aren't following the
score will go
rules
down.
are captured on camera from 3 different angles.
Jesus.
Right.
The so-called brain acts swiftly. Whether it's an illegally parked car or unsolicited advertising, offences can be handled by patrol officers who are connected to the control center via a mobile app.
居村的干部或者是我们居村里面的志愿者发现问题
As soon as the squads and volunteers in residential districts spot an issue, they can report it and upload footage. They take a photo, report the issue, and then our system automatically decides which department to forward the matter
进
to.
行一个区分。这个事项可能是由哪个部门进行有效的一个处理的。
The brain in Shanghai's Pudong district is just one component to the overarching surveillance plan the Chinese government is pushing across the country. The goal is to have complete coverage in all major public places, such as train stations, street intersections, and parks. China's state media boasts that police can identify every single person on the street in just 1 second.
Oh, wow.
There you go, brother. So that's coming to the United States. If it's not, they already have a brain. I'm pretty sure they already have a brain like built here in the United States. They're just waiting to get rid of Trump. And
Oh no, we have. I'm sure they have. we
yeah,
have
as
it,
soon as
but-
Trump's gone, I think that for sure. I think if Trump doesn't win, if they've managed to not let this guy win, and Biden is once again in the next 4 years, by the time Biden's gone, they're implementing this whole system, man. They're gonna figure out a way. They're gonna do another pandemic, and then through that, implement this crazy, controlled system.
But you know how they try to make it like, oh well, the elderly person's alone and needs care, or they try to come at it as a good, right?
Yeah.
But it's going to be used for controlling people, and that's why I always tell people here, like for instance, like just an example is like when you're dealing with the police and you don't have to ID if you haven't done anything wrong, and a lot of people will tell me, well, if you don't got anything to hide, right?
Yeah, exactly.
This is what it leads to.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
if you don't stand up for your rights, they're taken away. And in there, they don't have an opportunity to stand up for our rights. We do here, but people say, well, if you don't have anything to hide, well, same in China with this system. Well, why would you care if you don't have anything to hide? You're not doing anything wrong. Because they have all over you, and nobody's perfect. You're going to make mistakes. They're going to forward this automatically through their brain system to some agency that you left your trash somewhere. What big deal, right? Or whatever it may be, little things that aren't perfect, and no one's perfect, and you're going to get a call or a visit from some agency, and now you got to deal with this nonsense, and it's just such an overblown system.
Well,
it's going to regulate and control people worldwide.
Have you heard about that? That supposedly FBI agents are already going to people's houses and like wanting to talk to them about posts. They're being reported by Facebook. Facebook is flagging people.
FBI agents in Catholic churches and trying to recruit people who go, Catholics that are members of the church, as informants.
Oh, really? Wow, what the heck?
Yeah, they did that. They got caught, so they say they don't do it anymore, but they're lying. I mean, the FBI, KGB, same thing. China's brain thing. They're all connected. They're all doing the same stuff. It's all about control.
Look at this guy right here.
And this is absolute control. And so, for anybody out there who thinks, if you don't have nothing to hide, well, then this is what you're going to get. That's where that philosophy leads.
Yeah.
And if you're fine with everything you do being monitored, evaluated, judged, filmed, then hey, if you're perfect, you're good.
Exactly. No, but that's the thing. Yeah, nobody's perfect. So these people that think, I'm not doing anything wrong, so I don't care. Eventually, you are going to do something, and it's going to bite you in the ass, and then you're going to be like, oh my god, like I didn't want it to be.
Well, and it doesn't have to be a big thing. Like you'll get a speeding ticket when no one's even there. You didn't turn on your blinker or whatever it may be if you trash out your car window. Now, these are all infractions of the law, but we've all done them. Do you want to get a representative of the government come to your door or something in the mail saying you owe us this money or you're going to jail kind of thing just for doing little things like that? Is that the kind of world you want? Your freedom will be gone at that point. You don't have freedom. You're not allowed to act independently anymore.
Well, I mean,
you do what they say or these consequences occur.
Well, especially if they tie it to a social credit score, like if they're trying to collapse the dollar and move to a digital currency, this whole system is going to be a lot easier to implement. And
well, if you take away currency, then they do have control over you.
And what are they trying to do? That's one of the things on that in the fall of Rome, like they're trying to collapse the dollar by inflation, by all this spending, by all this printing of money. It seems like that's what the Biden administration is trying to do. They're for sure trying to collapse it.
This whole one world order thing, one of the big sticking points in there, one of the big problems they have is the United States. The United States is very strong, very free, very powerful. So they need to weaken that. And you weaken that by with money. You take away people's money. You raise the price of energy and gas. That raises the price of everything. Yeah. Now people have less money. You don't have any money. You don't have any say-so.
Yeah.
You're dependent. Now, and so they are trying to do that because the United States is in the way of a one world government.
Yeah.
There's other places, but the United States is by far the biggest stumbling block there, and that's why you see what's happening in the United States because it's an effort, by I don't know exactly who. It's going to be rich and powerful people in the government and outside that are working together to make this happen. But they know that they need to weaken the United States, the people of the United States who stand on freedom so hard that if you take away their ability, and people worry about taking away guns, worry more about them taking away your money. Go to the grocery store, go to the gas pump. That's intentional in order to weaken you economically because when you don't have money, you're going to have to lean on the government. And the government's more than happy to have you lean on them because then they are now your boss, your master.
Yeah.
They can give and take as they please.
Yeah, well, just right here. Look at this. Now in China's Xiamen City, authority allows only people with a 584 or higher social credit score to seek medical treatment in hospitals without a huge deposit in advance.
You're not a good citizen, you die.
Yeah, so if you throw your trash on the floor, if you make a illegal U-turn, it all brings your score down, and they start living.
Exactly what I was saying. You didn't turn on your blinker.
Yeah.
You didn't turn on your blinker. I'm sorry that you have a tumor. You have a tumor, but you're not a good enough citizen to be treated.
Yeah.
We don't want you.
It's just insane, man. I can't believe this.
And the ironic part is the people who are instituting all these things in China and everywhere else, they're doing the most horrible things of anybody, and they're allowed to. Their behavior is not going to be monitored like this and punished like this.
Oh my God, look at this one. The higher your social credit ranking, the better school your kids can attend in China. So parents are forced to donate blood to government in order to raise their social credit rankings. This woman from Guangzhou City donated 400 milliliters of blood to earn 2 social credit points. Oh my God, this is insane.
Literally want blood.
Yeah, like what the hell? Just for 2 credit points, just so her kids could go to better school. Yeah, but this person, ever since I joined,
they're bleeding dry, but they literally
seriously. Yeah, this guy, since I joined, well, since I started getting it, I've had this account for a long time. I never mess with Twitter for the same reason you said, like, oh, what am I going to tweet? Stupid. It sounds all dumb. But so I started, I don't know how I found this guy, but yeah, he's been posting all these videos from what's going on. And actually, when Musk took over, when I first started going on Twitter, they had a riot, one of the first riots in China since Tiananmen. Was it Tiananmen Square? What's Tiananmen?
Yeah.
Because of COVID, they were trapping people inside of their apartments. You ever hear about that? I wish I could go all the way back. Yeah, so they were trapped. They're literally like soldering their doors shut so they couldn't get out to keep them from. And there ended up being a fire, and like 13 people died. They burned to death because they couldn't get out. And so I forgot what city it was. There's like riots, literally. Like they took over streets. It was like the biggest thing, like since the 80s, since that Tiananmen Square massacre thing, and nothing happened. They're almost letting them, but I think because of Musk had taken over, and now Twitter was free, this guy was posting videos, and a lot of people were talking about it. So they weren't really killing these people. They were letting them, but it went on for a few weeks, maybe 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, and yeah, they're mad, man. They're like they're breaking stuff. They're like, you didn't think you would see, especially after seeing stuff like this, how controlled they are. Yeah, they fought back for a little bit, but slowly, sure enough, it all went back to normal. They started saying, "Oh, we're going to ease restrictions on COVID," and I haven't heard nothing about that in China. But I'm pretty sure with this monitoring system, they tracked everybody that did something. They're probably either dead or in jail.
Oh yeah,
they locked up. They got all of them. It might have been some people were even suspecting it was a test. Like basically, they caused this, and they let them riot just to see who's stepping out of line, and
it sounds like January 6th.
Yeah, to make a point, you know what I mean, to see how they could do it.
FBI coordinated and encouraged riot in order to find the most the biggest Trump supporters and lock them up.
Here it says the new Home Depot office of police have just told the press of their plans to massively expand in the UK. So the UK has always been a big surveillance country too. No, they've always had like 1 million cameras everywhere. Yeah. So they're already set to go over there. They already gave up their guns. They have like they gave up their guns.
Give up their knives. I always made a joke about that because in London, which is about the same square mileage as New York and the same population, they have a relatively about the same amount of murders, but they don't have any guns, but everybody's using knives. So I was like, what are they going to do now? Knife control? And I guess they are.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's possible because you can make knives out of anything, really. You can, you got to register this knife or whatever. I can,
sharpen
you can make out of anything. Yeah. You can make knives out of wood, metal, rocks, whatever. It wouldn't be hard to make all kinds of extra knives. So knife control doesn't seem possible, but they're trying.
Look at this one. Xi Jinping is hiring 87,000 agricultural police officers, and they're coming for Chinese farmers. Farmers can only plant the crops the government approves. Today, officers come to destroy all this family's fruit trees. The government wants this family to grow grains. Look at that.
Yeah.
And they're cutting down. Oh my God! I haven't even seen these, so these are tripping me out. Here's another one. More farmers. This guy's getting taken away. Oh, there's one video I saw a couple of weeks ago. I guess it's a law that you have to take care of your elderly parents, which obviously should be done, but with whatever they're going through economically out there, I'm pretty sure a lot of people are struggling to do that. But they arrested this son for not taking care of his mom. And is this one? This is how a Chinese man in his bed was treated for refusing to take the experimental COVID injection. During COVID, China went from door to door to forcibly jab people with vaccine. Dude, he's being forcibly injected. Look at boom right there.
Oh, they were getting real close. They did as close as they could to that here.
Yeah. Actually, it was a Marine or something. There's video of some Marine. They did that. They didn't forcibly jab him, but he was in military prison for refusing the COVID vaccine, and there's a video of him. I don't know what they were doing it for. I guess he just wasn't complying with anything they were saying because he was just pissed probably. And like 6 military guys had to hold him down here in the United States. They had to hold him down to get him out of the cell for some reason. I forgot what it was, but here's another guy getting jabbed forcibly. Oh my God, this has to be like, what do you think after this, bro? You know what I mean? Like, how do you go back to normal, like, through your life? Like, oh, here
I don't think he's going to go back.
This is how an 18-year-old active duty service member was treated for refusing to take their experimental. This is the guy right here. I don't know. I don't say his name, but he's suing. Look at this. So this is the United States.
Yeah.
Same exact thing.
Yeah.
I don't think they're injecting him, but they take him out of there, but they have to hold him down because he's in there literally for refusing the order of getting the vaccine.
Right.
So yeah, I guess I could go on and on, man. There's just so many. Every aspect of anything you could think about in your life. What the hell is that? China's Alipay digital wallet has an individual carbon footprint tracker which tracks users' actions and purchases, rewarding them with green energy points for low carbon activities such as going paperless, buying sustainable products, and walking to work.
Yeah, it talks about how to reward them, but it doesn't talk about if they go over how they're punished, right? They always want to talk about like these things as their good things, and really they're bad things. They're more control than trying to do anything good. It's all about controlling people. It's a facade that they use.
So they get social credit points for walking because now they're not using for green energy points. So this
what happens if they go over their points, right? Are they talking about that? They don't want to talk about that part because that's really what it is they want to. It's just about control. It's clear.
Well, it'll probably be suspicious and they'll probably be investigated. Like this guy says this man is cheating the system by mimicking the motion of walking. So he has all these cameras. I mean, all these phones.
That's funny.
Jesus Christ. I can't believe this, man.
Well, I can because, like I said, it's very clear that there's an attempt for a one world order. And
it's just so surreal because, damn, how long, our whole lives, we've seen movies and read books depicting all this, and it's literally happening now. Like, all this stuff is finally
it's in the novel. I mean, that's the book of books, and it's in there. This is all in there. It talks about, the one world government, and it's clear that they're going there because it's not like this is one country that's doing these sorts of things. It's everywhere.
Yeah, I just can't believe. I mean, when COVID happened, it was so like surreal. You know what I mean? I know everybody it was a shock to everybody.
That's the first time you had a worldwide pandemic ever.
Yeah, like it felt like everybody said it. It felt like a movie. You know what I mean? Like it felt like that movie Contagion. But
go
ahead. Oh no, what were you saying? Go ahead.
I was going to say, I don't know if you know this, but what they did with COVID, right before COVID, I had never heard of this, but after COVID, I did learn this, that they have International Military Olympics. I never heard of that, but apparently that's a thing. Mm-hmm. And when COVID was coming out, they had it in China, so they had multiple countries over there representing multiple countries in these military Olympics. So basically, you just spread the virus to them, they go back home around the world, and you make a worldwide virus. So it was an intentional thing, and that's how they spread it.
Oh my God! All right.
That's why you never had a worldwide virus before, because they're always contained by sea, land barriers, whatever. But especially the oceans. How do you get a virus in Europe into South America? Well, you fly the people in, infect them, and fly them back.
Yeah, that makes sense. Here's one. This guy reposted I follow this account too, Illuminati bot. And I've seen people talking about this clip of Bill Gates. Check this out. So he says Bill Gates wants to vaccinate cows against farting to stop the planet from getting hotter. He is a psychopathic.
Our guy, he says some stupid stuff.
No, he's.
I applaud.
Let me see.
The same thing for the agricultural sector. You know, beef. And now I see two very amazing approaches. By improving the cow breeding and giving them some other inputs, we can reduce their methane emissions. And this new prioritization of the methane work, I applaud that, because in terms of the near-term temperature increase, methane plays a very big role. The same thing for...
Man, he needs to be banished to China, this guy.
I wonder how people survived cow farts before Bill Gates and before this nonsense. Right? Cows are always around. They're always doing what they do. Yet, the people weren't going, oh my God, cows are farting, the world's empty. It's nonsense.
Man, imagine probably the first food is going to be banned is beans. Imagine. They're going to let us eat beans. They're going to...
We got to stop humans from farting.
Yeah, they're going to put a protein in the next vaccine to keep us from farting. We're just going to our stomachs are just going to blow up. To kill two birds with one stone. All right, so yeah, so here it is, bro. So if you ever get a Twitter, follow this guy and you'll trip out, man. The videos, oh, there it is. Pay with your palm. So that's already happening in the United States. Whole Foods is doing this. So you put your palm and you pay for stuff.
Right.
So they're slowly coming in, and yeah, they just need somebody. They need Trump out of the way. Yeah, they need all these older people with older, thoughts of how the country should be. They would need them to die. They just want a whole new generation to be stupid and accept all this.
Well, most people are easily led, so it's not difficult to do. But as it becomes more extreme and extreme, less people are going to be willing to go along with it. So their measures of control have to become more authoritarian in order to do that, and that's what we're seeing, right? Yeah. But paying with your hand or your phone or a chip, this is all to get rid of currency. Because if you don't have cash, then your money is connected to electronically, and the government's going to have access to that and be able to turn it off, turn it on. You owe them money, or they say they do. They just will be able to take it. There's no process there anymore where you have any freedom economically, and that is really the way they're going to enslave people. Like I've always said, the credit system is just roundabout slavery, right? Like when someone tells you their credit score, if it's low, you have a low opinion of them as a person. If it's high, you have a high opinion. And this has been indoctrinated in our culture on purpose, because that's the way to control people. That's the beginning stage of it. Yeah. So it's worth leading. It's leading to a one world government. I don't think it's stoppable. It might be stopped this time, but at some point it's going to happen. Eventually, it's inevitable. So it's going to get worse, whether it's now or later. Yeah. It will happen. We put up a good fight, like we should, and resist the best we can. But ultimately, we're going to lose that battle, and that's like I said, that's because it's biblical. And it's not just, you don't have to just refer to the Bible. You just have to open your eyes to see it.
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. I guess I'm just stubborn, man, so I'm going to hold on to hope. I'm not going to let these people think.
You do want to hold on to hope because it says this is going to happen, but no man will know when, right? So throughout history, people have thought these things were going to happen. It's just never been so obvious in history, right? As now, like you've had world wars and it looked bad, it looked like the end times, but you didn't have all these control mechanisms in place around the world. Now, Nazis, Soviets, they had control in their countries like this, but the world wasn't like this. They're trying to do this on a worldwide scale now, which says, it looks like this is it. But it might not be. Because only God knows.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the hope, though, you do have hope, because God's going to win. Get on board with Him, and you will be okay.
Yeah, no, for sure. people need to go back towards faith. That's for sure. Hey, Dad, give me 1 second, real quick. 1 second.
All right.
Boy, what did I say? All right, sorry, my brother.
No,
we're not professionals, so I got my son came into the room right here.
Yeah.
I got our PlayStation's in here.
All the
So
time when the cat comes in, or the baby comes in, or whatever.
no, he's supposed to be at school. But, it's okay. All right, so basically these are the videos. So let's just go real quick through the timeline, bro, for current events, and just for posterity. I'll say that today is April 11th, 2024.
Okay.
And we'll just hold on to this so that if in a year from now, if Biden's president and they arrested us, we'll have a record that at least we tried.
Yeah.
So get a Twitter, bro. So I'll tell you, this guy right here, Mike Benz. This guy speaks. I guess he was part of the State Department for a little while, and this guy speaks. He says a lot of cool. He has a lot of good information, man. He always make these videos right here talking about a bunch of good stuff. He's been on a bunch of shows. Glenn Greenwald, you know that guy, right? Glenn Greenwald.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, he was a reporter. He's the guy that broke the Edward Snowden.
He broke what?
The Edward Snowden story about the classified documents. Glenn Greenwald is the guy Edward Snowden went to, and he broke the story. He lives in Brazil, so he's in the right now. Brazil, they're cracking down on freedom of speech. They're trying to get Elon Musk or trying to shut down X in Brazil.
Oh yeah,
right here it is right here.
Worldwide effort, and how could this be happening in countries all around the world at the same time, right? Freedom, countries that are supposed to be free, countries that aren't. You would expect it in the ones that aren't, but you wouldn't expect it in the ones that are. But it's happening there too, which is clearly a coordinated attempt to control the entire world.
Here it is right here. Juanita Broderick. You know who that is?
Yeah.
Yeah. She says she was raped by Bill Clinton. But
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, she's one of them, and she's on here. She has a big following. She posted right here, Dodgy Designer. This is I think a repost from somebody in Brazil. My banking accounts were frozen. All my social media was under censorship, and my passport has been canceled just for a bunch of tweets. That's what we have been facing in Brazil. So that's what's happening in Brazil. So that's a first.
But then you ask the government, they'll tell you, you guys are free. Well, you're not.
So
we're not free. Really, no one in the world is free anymore. The freest people are probably people who live out in the jungle.
Yeah, they'll get to them too.
They haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, they're next. This guy right here. This guy right here, Ashton Forbes. This guy just came out of nowhere, like maybe 4 or 5 months ago. He saw this video, which I'll play in another show we do. You might have seen it. It's a video of what he thinks. You know that Malaysian airplane that disappeared?
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. So basically, there's been video. Huh?
I think that's Tesla you're showing.
This is like a post of something. I don't know what he's talking about. Free energy is really possible. He's super thorough. Like he's like kind of like me and you. Like he'll ask, like he'll get to the bottom of every every question, like anything that the people are trying to claim. But he started getting famous because he posted there's these videos that I guess been around since 2014, since the year that plane disappeared, that look real, bro. And basically it's the plane flying, and there's like satellite. One of them is a satellite image, and one of them is from a drone, and that's the way they look. But it looks like the plane is flying, and all of a sudden these 3 balls just show up out of nowhere and start circling the plane, and just boom, the plane just disappears. So you think just from here and there, you're like, oh, that's ridiculous, you know what I mean? But the videos, basically, he got popular because he speaks really well, so he's able to explain it, and he thinks they're real. So he went on a bunch. All of a sudden, everybody wanted him on their podcast, and he was just explaining how could this be, like, you know what I mean? Like, so some other guy came in and they put up like I don't know if it was 100,000, like a reward for anybody that could either come with the files of how they created it, or at least reproduce it as accurate as those videos, because he's basically saying like, let me see if we can find him so you could kind of look at him. Here's the video. So I don't know if you want to check him out. So look at. I'll try to expand it real quick. Can you see it? Can you see it pretty good?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, so the right one is a satellite image, and he explains what that satellite is. It's a crazy system that he says that the military has in place. Can you see the balls? And then the left one is from a drone.
Yeah.
And the left one is from a drone. And basically, he's saying that they knew this is done. He thinks that it was Lockheed Martin that did it, and this is the technology that we have right now that they're hiding.
Mm-hmm.
So right here, you'll see on the left. So he's saying those balls are real, that they're literally circling that plane, and then right here, watch, boom. He says that literally happened. That they literally when he says that they didn't vaporize it, that it teleported it somewhere else. So he got really popular, really popular on Twitter and on all these podcasts, because he's saying this is like these videos. There's not no technology no VFX artists can reproduce it. It's just too real looking. Like there's the way the balls are spinning. You can't do that with like a digital recreation or something like that. So there you go. So you got stuff like that going on.
Yeah. I'm not sure what to make of that.
A lot of people are attacking them because it's like everybody's the same. Like, dude, this is impossible. Like, how could that be real? How could that technology exist?
Well, I'll say this on that. Whatever technology you know that the military has, there's always something better. You never know the top military, like even the stealth fighter, right? You didn't know about that. It existed for a long time before we knew about it. So whatever we have now, like the F-22 Raptors, the most advanced fighter plane in the world, well, there's something better because they never let you know about the best.
Yeah.
And on top of that, we also have planes that can enter and exit the atmosphere. You don't need a spaceship like a shuttle or booster rockets and stuff like that. I believe that they have that too. So that's why, I think that's why Trump created the Space Force when people were joking about it. But it's because the technology is there now to exit the atmosphere and enter. You just have to get to that speed to do it, which is a lot higher than anything we normally do with a fighter plane or a regular plane, but they probably do have stuff like that. Definitely they have stuff that we don't know about, but this is right up there pretty wow.
Well, I mean, a faster plane, a plane that could cloak from satellite, I mean, yeah, that sounds like reasonable, you know what I mean? They could do that. This right here is a whole nother, you're talking about 100 years from now technology. If they could teleport, if they could get a physical ball to circle a plane, or three of them to circle a plane like this, like, what propulsion system could be doing this?
My question on that is why that plane, is it a test? Or
no, he broke down everything. So what supposedly, so they don't know. So he doesn't even know. But what the theory is that there were some scientists or technicians that worked for Lockheed Martin. They were trying to leave and go work either for China or something like that. They're trying to.
So somebody important on the plane.
Yeah, they're trying to defect, and so he posted some videos. Some. What is that, Evan? What is that noise?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, my phone, my son's. Whatever. This is the rough draft, the first show, bro. So
yeah.
All right, so he's saying that, huh?
People understand we have,
yeah. So he's saying that basically somebody sent him like an anonymous video, and they're saying that basically, yeah, some scientists are trying to defect from Lockheed Martin, and so they knew that they were going to get on this plane, and they put some. I guess there was a fire on this plane that was corroborated by witnesses, like from the ground, that saw the plane before it disappeared, and they put like these batteries on there that lit up, that caught on fire. So the plane was on fire at first. I think they reported that, and so what they're saying is that this was all like a setup that they wanted to show China what they're able to do to basically to keep them, you know what I mean, like keep them in line. Like, this is what we're capable of. Don't mess with the United States. So they're trying to show them that we have this type of technology to basically kill you guys. So don't mess with us. So that's the theory that he thinks why they did it to this plane. It was a show of force, basically.
Okay.
So who knows? But yeah, the idea is crazy as hell.
I hadn't seen that before, and you know, verifying that it's legitimate is also difficult. It's ironic that the more advanced our technology gets, the less we can trust what we even see, because it's so easy to make fake videos and things like that. I've seen a lot of videos of UFOs that are just CGI or whatever, and they look so good, but they're complete fake. So, you know, we watching something like this now, it's like, well, is it fake? Is it not? You know, there's people that are, it is, people that are, it isn't. I understand this guy's saying, hey, I feel like I verified it. I would have to hear how he verified that, but say it is real. It's it would be either military technology or angels. You know.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, I think
he said it's borderline magic. Basically, what's happening. Like, so yeah, like I mean.
Right, because you know when people, you know, a lot of these videos they talk about the UFOs and the UFO sightings. I think the UFO, because a UFO getting here by physics is like it's really not possible. So I believe the majority of the sightings it's more of a spiritual thing. But I can't say that for sure either. That's just my belief. Because just like I said, physics wise, trying to cross.
Yeah, I've said the same exact thing, bro. That I didn't believe in UFOs for a long time, and the only thing I would tell myself if it is real, these are like craft from some other place that are not human, it's interdimensional. I would believe more in interdimensional than it being, like you said, some sort of physical craft that's traveling from one star to another. I can't see that happening.
It's virtually impossible based on the physics that we know.
Yeah.
And, you know, the physics are pretty grounded in science that, you know, they are what they are. They're not changeable. However, we don't know everything. So what we just watched, I don't know.
It's definitely mind-boggling.
Explanation.
Well, what's interesting just about that whole story with this guy is not necessarily just that; it's his story. It's basically the fact he says himself, "I'm just a normal guy. I just got interested in this, and I started posting these videos. People started responding. All of a sudden, one podcast wanted me on, and I talked about it. And his interviews are pretty good because he just speaks well, and he breaks it down like pretty good, like to explain like what's happening, and he just got popular from that. But yeah, we'll get around to that stuff too. Did you hear FISA? Basically, they try to kill it.
Yeah,
this just happened.
Director Ray's testifying today, trying to keep FISA alive. He says
who is
the FBI director Ray.
Oh, okay.
He's testifying in Congress right now because he's trying to keep it. He's trying to renew the FISA because it's going to expire.
Yeah.
And he says the threat in America, like basically a terrorist threat, has never been higher.
Yeah, by their own making.
Right, because you have open borders. Guess what? We're going to help all the migrants. So guess what? Al Qaeda, ISIS, Taliban, anybody,
China, everybody,
right across the border, set up shop in all the cities around America, and then when it's time, they all just attack. It's just if they didn't, it would be terrorism incompetence.
That's ridiculous.
So, but he's saying that it is by their own making, if he's telling the truth. Because, you got to understand also, he wants this ability. He doesn't want this ability to go away because it's another way to control people, right? You can look into Americans. It's only supposed to be for foreign people, but it's been proven in Congress that they do investigate Americans through FISA. So he wants that for their own personal reasons of control of American citizens and other people. But at the same time, the threat, yeah, I agree. It's probably never been higher because it would be ridiculous that terrorists haven't come across our border because, it's wide open. And if you're a terrorist, it's like, hey, you can go strike America. All you got to do is go across the border, set up camp somewhere, and then we'll let you know when it's time to go.
Yeah. Somebody posted a video comparing, and it's true. Like all these years we've been dealing with the Patriot Act, and we have to go to the airports and stuff like that, just for terrorism. And meanwhile, they're just opening the borders, letting these very people that they're trying to protect us supposedly from, just right into the country. Like it's just it don't even seem real, man. Like
they use fear, like climate change fear, terrorism fear, and a lot of these things will be real, but they use fear to move the herd, to get people to do what they want. If you scare people enough, they're going to comply.
Yeah.
And that's the tactic of this whole thing is is fear and control. Fear people into getting control. But I do believe he's right that, you know, a terrorist attack in the United States is imminent. I mean, how could it not be? I mean, like I said, it'd be malpractice on the part of terrorists not to do it.
Well,
right? It's a freebie for them.
Well, Ron Paul said it. I forgot who else said it, that they're calling it a black swan event is coming. That they think for sure something's going to happen before the election.
Oh, yeah, before this election, all kinds of things are going to happen. Yeah. You know, riots are coming, government orchestrated, planned riots are coming. They get influencers and pay them to get other people all riled up about whatever cause, BL, gender, it could be anything. And they get out in the streets, and it's just a distraction while they, you know, basically rig elections.
Well, speaking of which, here it goes. So Glenn Greenwald posted this. Just absolutely amazing that Speaker Johnson admits that he completely changed his view on the need for the FBI NSA's warrantless spying on FISA after vocally opposing it because he went to a classified briefing and they convinced him. So here it is.
Right.
So here's what he has to say.
I saw all the abuses of the FBI, the terrible abuses over and over and over, the hundreds of thousands.
This is
of
why
abuses.
flip-flop.
And then when I became speaker, I went to the SCIF and got the confidential briefing from sort of the other perspective on that to understand the necessity of Section 702 of FISA and how important it is for national security. And it gave me a different perspective. So I encourage all the members to go to the classified briefing and hear all that and see it so they can evaluate the situation for themselves. And I think some opinions have changed both ways, but that's part of the process. You got to be fully informed.
Have you been?
There it is.
So the reason, so FISA is, I'm not opposed to FISA because it's supposed to be protecting us from foreigners. That's like the F in FISA is foreign. But the problem is that it's unchecked. So
Warrantless.
They
Warrantless is the problem, right? That you don't need a warrant, so you don't need.
Well, warrantless is not the problem because it's about foreigners and they don't have constitutional rights. So it's fine to investigate terrorists or whatever foreign agents who want to do harm to America. It's fine without a warrant because it's not violating the Constitution. But when you do it with America, you are violating your constitutional rights. The problem is you have bad people in charge, and they're going to use these real threats that they need this ability to use to protect Americans. They're going to also use it in another way against Americans that are politically opposed to them. And that's the real problem. So he's not wrong that they do need it. The problem is there's no checks and balances here keeping these people in line so they don't abuse it.
Like that might explain because Marjorie Taylor Greene, she was against it, but so that what they're posting right here, well, it's on here. They're posting right here. Like this person posted 19 congressmen voted against it, so on reauthorizing it or temporarily. And Marjorie Taylor Greene's not on here. Thomas Macy, he's not on here, and all these guys are talking about it. But it might be for the reason you're saying, that they probably think we need it, but there should be some sort of conditions on it. Because Trump even tweeted that on his Truth Social, to kill it because they used it against him illegally. That's how they went after.
So the problem you have here is pick your poison, right? Yeah. Or do you want to kill it and be more open to being attacked by foreign elements, or do you want to keep it and have the government attacking you? Yeah. One way or the other, you're going to be the probability of you being in trouble if you're political or a terrorist. They're going after both. So you can kill it. Okay, great. They can't do warrantless searches anymore. Well, now the terrorists have easier access, but the border's open anyway, so you might as well kill it. But if you don't kill it, then they have access to Americans that they think are political threats, and they'll use these searches to search them out and find anything on them, much like China's doing, searching everything, and they'll find something because nobody's perfect, and they'll really put you under oath, and they'll say, well, you lied to the FBI. They'll find some way to get you to lie about something that doesn't really matter, but now you committed a federal offense, which is a felony, and now we're going to lock you up. So if you keep FISA or cancel FISA, it's still a big problem because the people that are in charge are bad people. Yeah. And once again, it all comes back to the morality, which comes back to God. Without God, you don't have no right and wrong. You don't have no morality. And so these people aren't concerned with that. Right and wrong isn't important. All that's important is money and power. And so they'll do whatever it takes, they don't care, to maintain those things and increase those things.
So it really just comes down to kind of what I want to do with the solutions part. Basically, they need to solve that. They need to put what the conditions should be on FISA just to make it usable. And,
well, they do have conditions on it. The things the FBI have been doing when they're surveilling American citizens is illegal. But there's nobody to enforce it because they are the law enforcement. The DOJ is corrupt, the FBI is corrupt, the CIA is corrupt.
Yeah,
you don't have
maybe create a committee that's like an oversight committee. Like whenever they want to spy on anybody, they got to come to this committee, a reasonable committee, maybe from different senators and congressmen and everybody, whatever the hell it is, and basically
they do have committees and they do have congressional hearings about these things, and they've had them. And they've proven that they violated these laws. Okay, great, you proved them, but the Congress doesn't have the power of the law, right? They can't punish them. Now it's supposed to be referred back when they find these violations of law to the DOJ. The DOJ is not going to do anything because they're part of it. The FBI and the CIA, same thing, right?
There's some sort of body, some sort of overseeing body that whenever they want to do this, they got to get permission, not necessarily. Get maybe a warrant is really the only way. Like just at least announce what you're doing. Don't do it, under the cover of darkness and just try to get away with it.
They have to go to a FISA court and a judge has to sign off on this. But you got to get a corrupt judges in on it too.
Yeah, well, maybe just more scrutiny, something.
So basically, what I'm saying is, there's a lot of people in America, like the deep state, which is the FBI, the heads of these agencies, law enforcement, and others in government. That they're allowed to break the law because they know there's nobody going to punish them for it. You can go ahead and put it out there, right? You can have congressional hearings. You can do whatever you want. The news is going to report on it, so the Americans aren't going to know much about this unless they really look. And even if they do, okay, we know about it. Okay, go get them. The FBI goes, no, it's not enough information. This isn't really, they're going to BS you. And they're not going to enforce the law. Now, if someone that's a political opponent in America does this, breaks the law, and they honestly don't even have to always break the law. They just have to be a political opponent. They're going to go at them with everything they got.
Yeah.
And that's the problem is the law enforcement in America at the highest levels is on the side of the deep state. So they are not going to go after people who violate these laws. And a lot of times it's them that's violating them. They're not going to prosecute themselves, and there's no one else to prosecute them.
Yeah.
And that's really how they get away with it.
Well, just the fact that Speaker Johnson got, his mind changed over some sort of, challenges briefing that I heard.
Damn, there are real threats. Like, we do need this. Or it's also possible that they've been able to blackmail him or bribe him. This is a very, very, very common tactic. The FBI, the NSA, CIA, DOJ, they can dig into your past every little thing. And all they need to do is find something. And now, hey, Mr. Speaker, remember what you did back 10 years ago? You didn't think anybody knew about it? We know. Either you're on board with this, or we're going to prosecute you for this. We're going to put it in public. Or here's some money. Now, I'm not saying that's what happened with him. He could just be legitimately saying, yeah, we do need this. And I agree, we do need it. But we need it in the hands of people who are going to do the right thing, not going to do the right thing. The right and wrong is not part of the equation for the people that run the United States.
I believe him. I believe Speaker Johnson. I think he just seems like a good person. He seems like he's being genuine. I don't think he's selling out. I don't think he's being blackmailed. I think he's just in a tough position. Right. In a point of view of United States history, that's never happened, and he has a tough job. You know what I mean? So he's trying to
right.
Be fair.
I'm inclined to lean towards that conclusion as well. I'm just saying the other conclusions are possible, and they're very common with a lot of people in government that want to do the right thing. They fall into that where they get bribed or they get blackmailed.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying that's what's happening with him. I'm inclined to agree with you that he probably is legitimately believing that we need a threat based on, or we need this FISA based on what he's seen, the threats he's seen, which are
But what you said, Tim this guy right here, Tim Burchett, I forgot what state he's from. He's a congressman, I think. He said the same thing you said. That basically, yeah, that they most of them they get blackmailed. They get blackmailed.
Yeah, of course.
And he's in Congress, and he's saying that. So he's saying that it absolutely happens. Like they really do blackmail people, and they'll walk. He said exactly what you said. That they'll walk up to him and tell him, "Hey, you know that vote you want to, you know that you're trying to make. Yeah, we have video or pictures of you from this so and so you're not gonna make that vote." So he's in Congress and saying stuff like that. So.
And even if you do vote, your year's over, we'll ruin you, and then someone else will come in your place, and we'll get them. Yeah. You get one vote, we just reverse it later.
What the hell is that thing? Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's something everybody always suspected, but it's just crazy to hear it from somebody in Congress and corroborating that. Yeah, that stuff happened.
Like the United States Congress, this is how I believe the United States Congress is corrupted. The leaders on both sides have control of the people that are coming in, the newly elected Congress, newly elected senators, right? Mm-hmm. They're not part of this committee, or they're not the majority whip, or et cetera. They don't hold these higher positions. There are higher positions in the Congress. And they have the backing of the donors, and the DNC and the RNC and all the other donors. So if you come in with good intentions as a freshman congressperson, and then you want to do the right thing, well, go ahead and do the right thing. You're going to be here for 2 years, 4 years, and you're out at best. If we don't find something in your past we can blackmail you with or bribe you. But if we can't do that, then we're just going to cut off any support for you. We're not going to go out and campaign for you. We're not going to support you at all. We're not going to financially support you. We're going to cut your donors off. We've got them all in our pocket. We've got to blackmail them, bribe them, etc. And plus, they generally want what we want anyway. So you really don't have much chance. Like we'll elect somebody and go, oh, great. Wait to see what this guy does. He's so good. And they are. But they don't have a chance against the system.
Yeah, for sure.
And so that's how they maintain power. Congress has a ridiculously low approval rating, yet the people who are so disapproved of win every time.
Yeah.
Because they have full control in these ways.
Yeah, definitely. I got this video here. I want to just play this real quick. He said, this is Roger Stone. You know who Roger Stone is, right?
Yeah.
He posted, John Bolton, this other maniac, admits voting for a war criminal in 2020. I don't know how this could happen in 2020, and says he will do it again. Dick Cheney lied about Iraq having weapons of mass destruction to start a war in which hundreds of thousands of people died so that Halliburton could profit, which is obvious to everybody. And then so Caitlin Collins, this other nut job that works for CNN. John Bolton, I might as well say it now. I voted for Dick Cheney in 2020, and I'll vote for Dick Cheney again this November. So hold on, let's listen.
I might as well say it now. It's in focus on the 2020 election. That's obviously obsessing Trump because he can't admit that he lost. Will cost Republicans at the ballot. I think people want to move on from 2020. Even most Republicans, although they don't seem to realize it. So this concentration on what happened in the past, I think, will work to Biden's advantage, and he's unpopular enough. He desperately needs it.
And you've said you're going to write someone in November.
That's what I did in 2020, and I'll do it again this November.
Oh, that's what he did? He wrote him
in 2020. You've never revealed that before.
Well, I might as well say it now. I voted for Dick Cheney.
Wow.
And I'll vote for Dick Cheney again this November.
You'll write in Dick Cheney.
That's right.
What made you write him in?
He's dead, isn't he?
No, Dick Cheney's alive. He got a heart transplant.
Oh, I thought he died.
Hey, you ever seen the movie
but
about
he's
him?
not even running for office.
Well, I guess you could write him in.
I mean, you can, but what is his point?
That he just loves the whole Bush regime and all those guys. This is John Bolton.
You know what? My personal story, I loved them too. I was, Romney, McCain, Bush.
That's crazy.
Yes, I was on board with all of them. And you know what? I was completely wrong. They are all part of it. People want to say I'm a Democrat or I'm a Republican, I'm red, I'm blue. Yeah. The truth is that the leaderships of both these parties are all working together. They're corrupted.
I'll tell you like this: if the Republican Party, because I hated them, and all my whole life I've always heard Republicans are for the rich and the Democrats are for the poor. That's what I've always grown up hearing.
But think about name a major corporation that's ran by a Republican. Other than Twitter.
Yeah. So basically,
all the people are Democrats. All the companies out there that are major companies are run by Democrats, and they toe the Democrat Party line.
Yeah. So
ironic that the rich are Republicans. Don't get me wrong.
Just because they could still be crooked undercover, thinking, oh, I'm a Democrat, so I'm for the people. But meanwhile, they're robbing the whole system. You know what I mean? So what I was saying is basically, if the Republican Party was who the Republican Party is right now, if they've always, these are the ideals and what they've always stood for, I think the Bush administration ruined all that. And that they're the ones that got people to vote for Obama, you know what I mean? Like for so long.
Yeah.
And they turned all the people, all the undecideds and people that aren't really into politics against the Republican Party. So I think for sure.
Really, they just want to maintain power, and they want to maintain an even balance, basically, so that people believe that they have a choice between a Republican or a Democrat, but they're all working together. There is no Republican and Democrat at the highest levels. It's American royalty. These people maintain and hold power with the lowest approval ratings in history, and they keep winning because they work together to keep us divided and keep those parties divided kind of equal. They don't really care about. They just don't want one to go one way or the other, and it can get out of their control. But if they keep them equal, essentially, then the leaders of these parties, they're working together. The Bushes, Obamas, Clintons, McCains.
Oh yeah,
they're all doing the same thing.
They don't hide it. They're best friends. They don't even hide it.
Right, and even their policies and politics are all the same things. They'll say different things, but then when they get in office, they do different things. That's why Trump is such a big problem for them, because they didn't take him seriously. They didn't really try to stop him because they thought there was no chance he would win. So why take the risk? Why spend the money? You know, he's going to fall on his face. But he got in. He's not one of them. They don't have control of him. And that's the first president in our lives, other than probably Reagan. And they tried to kill him. So, you know, this whole facade that you have a choice is nonsense. They rigged the primaries so that when you vote in the general, it's both a deep state person. So whether it's Bush or Obama, it doesn't matter. You can go ahead and choose. They're going to do our bidding anyway.
Yeah.
And that's the thing and this is what I mean by when people look at they don't see the whole picture. They're just looking at part of the picture. They're seeing it as if there's two sides. There's really not. But the illusion needs to be there so that the people don't understand what's really going on. So they maintain that illusion. Now, on the lower levels, when you get into Congress, you get down there, there are more differences, and they're not on the same side. But they're really not the ones that are in control. These junior senators, these freshman Congress people, they're not in charge. So, and if they start moving up and they're not playing ball, then they're out.
Yeah, for sure.
So they maintain their power, and they keep people believing that they have a choice when you don't.
Hey, Dan, you're gonna have to give me 1 minute, so I'm gonna leave this video playing, so I'll explain it real quick. So this guy right here, he's a reporter for NPR, and NPR is anti-Trump. Like basically all the news, every news organization is against Trump. But this guy's like been with the NPR for like over 20 years. He's like highly respected, and he wrote an article basically criticizing the treatment of Trump and how the media is making themselves look. And so he did this big article, and like all the Republicans and everybody on the right, they're like praising it. I'm gonna leave this playing real quick. I'll be right back.
They were
check this out for just a.
But they had journalistic chops, kind of, and some of their material was thought-provoking, I guess. But over the last decade, NPR isn't even taken seriously by anyone. Last year, NPR canceled shows, laid off staff, and now only 30% of their own audience trusts them. How'd this happen? Well, one senior editor who's worked there for 25 years is confessing. Yuri Berlinder, a classic lib, says NPR has gone way too far. In an interview, he revealed how NPR corrupted itself in 2016.
I think like every newsroom, every legacy media newsroom, we were shocked, disturbed, distraught, really troubled. We assumed Hillary Clinton was going to win, and she didn't, and it was really an unsettling experience. but I also think, to me, it revealed that we didn't really understand a lot of what was going on in America, that we were out of touch.
He even admits NPR's news team coped with Hillary's loss by getting into bed with Adam Schiff.
I think after a while we started covering Trump in a way that
Right, I'm
like
back.
a lot of the legacy news organizations, that we were trying to damage his presidency, to even find anything we could to harm him. And I think what we latched on to was Russia collusion, like a lot of news organizations, which was, as I write, sort of...
Is it pretty interesting so far?
Yeah. It's nothing I don't know. You know, CNN, the producer of CNN got caught on hidden mic on a fake date from a reporter, and he admitted that CNN from Zuckerberg or something like that runs CNN, their whole thing was to play up negative Trump stories and play down negative Biden stories, and to get Trump out and Biden in.
He's admitting that? He's saying that right now?
Yeah, he admitted that.
Wow.
You can look, and he said that our next thing is to use climate change to get people to move the way we want, and we're going to use fear.
Holy crap.
They admit it, and a lot of people watch that and they'll still go, yeah, but you know, he's just a producer, or he's just a news guy, or they're just rebels, whatever. But the evidence there, you're not watching news, you're watching propaganda. You might as well be in.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, it's
There is
just,
no
it's just
such
blatant.
thing
I
as
mean, and what's crazy is that it's just if you pay attention a little, if you just follow politics a little bit, you'll see it. Like, so it's not, they don't even have to go that far to try to hide how much they're lying. Like,